In 1846, a pirate ship follows a merchant vessel until it's close enough for the pirates to attack. A man rushes to ring the bell to alert his crew and the pirates shoot him down. After hearing the bell, Captain Baden gets his gun and orders his men to burn the logbook. Half of the pirates stay on deck to fight the men they find there, shooting them or throwing them into the water. The other half goes downstairs to find the rest of the crew, and Baden doesn't hesitate to fight back, killing some men in return. Unfortunately, 2 pirates manage to capture him and a third one knocks him out. When Baden wakes up, he discovers that the pirates have captured his ship and what remains of his crew. Pirate Captain Connor asks Baden how he acquired a gold bar with his mark. Baden doesn't answer, but the pirates find notes that indicate the merchant ship came from Cayman Brac. 6 days later on Cayman Brac, Ursel is worried because her husband Baden hasn't come back. She looks at the sea using a spyglass but finds nothing. Meanwhile, Baden's sister Elizabeth is visited by her secret boyfriend Weston. He wants to run away together but Elizabeth isn't convinced. When Ursel comes home and opens the gate, she activates an alarm system. The rope makes some bottles shake, letting Elizabeth know that someone is coming and waking up Ursel's disabled son Isaac. Ursel sees some smoke and rushes to the kitchen to find 2 pots catching on fire. After taking care of them, Ursel checks on Isaac and helps him put on his leg braces. Isaac asks her if she's seen any ships and adds another mark to his count, which means he hasn't heard from his father in 59 days. Then Ursel goes to Elizabeth's room, so Weston runs to hide under the floor. Ursel scolds Elizabeth for ignoring the pots and putting ideas in Isaac's mind, but Elizabeth only complains about being stuck on this pathetic island. Afterward, Ursel gathers some coconuts and makes a cake for Isaac's birthday. She also tells her son that Baden left him a present in case he was late for the party. It's a beautiful knife, and a flashback shows that Ursel used it to free herself and her people from some bad guys. On the shore, Weston is trying to make a deal with some creepy men. Moments later, Elizabeth leaves a goodbye letter on Isaac's night table and leaves the house. The bottles shake again and awaken Ursel, who immediately goes to Elizabeth's room and finds it empty. When she looks out the window, she sees a creepy man walking around the house. As the bottles shake again and whispers are heard outside, Ursel rushes to lock the front door and pick up Isaac, telling him to put on his leg braces. She then opens a hatch on the floor and takes out a gun before hiding her son. The men pound on the doors and walls while calling Ursel by name. Suddenly a hole opens in the ceiling, and 2 men burst into the room from above. Ursel manages to knock the first one down with a shot, but another one knocks her down from behind. The guy starts kicking her so Ursel defends herself, causing the other man to try to choke her. She bites his hand to push him off and tries to crawl away, but the guys follow her and keep hitting her until she surrenders, so they pick her up and hit her head on the table. Then Scout enters the house and asks Ursel for money, so she tells him to look behind the portrait. Scout does so, however he gets angry when he only finds a can with a few coins. He throws the can at the wall and asks for gold, but Ursel swears this is all she has. When the henchmen get distracted by picking up the coins, Ursel breaks a lamp and slashes a guy's face before running away. Unfortunately, the other man captures her again, so she spits in his face. He furiously throws her on the floor and she whispers to Isaac that she's fine before they drag her back. Scout shows her a gold bar with a particular mark and asks where the rest is, but she refuses to answer. Before leaving, Scout tells his men to break her bones. Meanwhile, Connor arrives on the island and the local custodian immediately asks him to introduce himself. Connor buys time by sharing vague philosophy while his pirates approach the island on their boats. Nearby, Elizabeth looks for Weston and screams when she finds him dead on the sand. When Pastor Bradley sees the pirates coming, he makes the harbor master blow a shell as a warning, and all the locals run to hide in the church. Connor asks where he can find Ursel, but the custodian refuses to answer and tells his men to get ready to fight. The pirates open fire first, killing the guy in charge of the island's cannon. Connor headbutts the custodian to knock him down. Back in the house, the henchmen put a noose around Ursel's neck and hang her from the ceiling, so she puts her fingers between her neck and the rope to stop it from choking her. At that moment Isaac speaks and the men finally see him under the floor. Desperate to save her son, Ursel drops her act and reveals she can speak the same language as them before moving fast to bring down the rope, knocking down one of the guys in the process. Then Ursel fights both men at the same time, showing amazing battle skills and using any object she can reach as a weapon. When she has an opening, she runs to get her knife. The henchman starts pulling the rope to drag her back, so she cuts it to free herself. The fight continues as Ursel uses her knife to stop the enemy's blade. When one of the men tries to get Isaac, Ursel kicks the table at him and breaks a chair on the other guy's head. Then she stands on top of the hatch to protect it. A man comes closer so she stabs him a couple of times before her other opponent smashes her against the wall. Ursel grabs her spyglass to stab him and slashes him a few times with her knife. The second man comes after her so Ursel slashes up his leg before stabbing him in the head. The henchman is angry to see his brother die so he tackles Ursel through the window. She tries to crawl away but the guy hits her with a spyglass. Ursel uses a shell to bring him down and furiously begins beating him up as she asks for her husband. The man dies before he can answer, and everything is seen by Isaac from his hiding spot. On the beach, many local men come after Connor, But he's an excellent warrior and kills them one by one using his sword or his gun. Multiple people on the pier open fire, so Connor hides behind a building and makes sure to shoot the new guy in charge of the cannon. Then he sneaks around the huts and fights the men hand to hand. When another man tries to reach the cannon, the pirates on the boat shoot him first. Connor keeps killing men all over the beach while the custodian rushes to the cannon. He manages to light the fuse, but unfortunately Connor arrives just in time to put it out. At that moment Elizabeth comes looking for help, but she sees the pirates reaching the shore and quickly hides inside a hut. When a man fires from the shadows, the pirates immediately shoot back and cause him to run away. The custodian warns them that the Royal Navy patrols these waters, so they'll be here soon. Connor wants to know where the distress signal is and threatens to shoot the church if he doesn't get an answer, so the custodian tells him it's atop the bluff on the far end of the island. Connor tells the people in the church that as long as they stay inside, they won't get in trouble. Then he fires the cannon at the custodian to kill him. At that moment Scout arrives and tells Connor that they've captured Ursel. In the house, Ursel brings Isaac out and he finds the gold bar on the floor. While they pack, they hear the bottles shaking, so Ursel points her gun at the window, but it's just Bradley. Ursel then washes and changes while Bradley tells her what happened on the beach. On Ursel's back, there's a mark like the one on the gold. Bradley explains that the pirates are looking for her and she's the only one who can stop them, calling her captain. At first Ursel doesn't want to fight, but Isaac finds Elizabeth's letter and they learn she tried to run away with Weston. After taking the knife back from the body, Ursel gives it to Isaac and hands Bradley her gun. She tells them to wait under the marked tree while she goes to save Elizabeth. Meanwhile Elizabeth is running through an open field and she can hear the pirates running nearby. Ursel carefully sneaks around and avoids the men by hiding at the right moment. Then she approaches Elizabeth from behind and drags her into the tall grass with her mouth covered. They reunite with a hug and Ursel tries to scold her, but Elizabeth earns her pity when she tells her that Weston is dead. The pirates find Ursel's house and start looking for the gold. They only find the men's bodies under the floor. While Quartermaster Lee sends men out to search the area, Connor looks at all the details in the house. After studying the toys, the ropes, and the marks on the ground, he concludes that Ursel has a disabled son. In the woods, Isaac's wheelchair gets stuck in a creek, so he has to continue on foot. Thankfully the marked tree is close. Suddenly they hear a noise and Bradley pulls out his gun, but it's Elizabeth and Ursel. The four of them leave together, so by the time the pirates reach that spot, they only find the wheelchair. A few miles from there, Ursel pulls out a small boat that she'd hidden under a tree and makes Elizabeth and Isaac get on it first. Elizabeth pulls the rope and they quickly make it to the other side of the creek. Ursel immediately follows them, but when it's Bradley's turn they see the pirates getting closer. Bradley decides to stay as a distraction, so the family leaves without him. The pirates surround him and Connor immediately recognizes him as Blackheart Bradley. Ursel tells her family to keep going while she climbs a tree to watch the men with her spyglass. Bradley spits in protest and refuses to talk, so Connor shoots him. Then the pirates see Ursel in the tree and open fire, causing her to fall. When a man is about to kill her, Bradley shoots him first. Connor kills Bradley with another shot while Ursel runs away. When the pirates get in the water to cross the creek, an alligator suddenly attacks them and everyone panics. Half of the group runs to reach the other side, but the alligator still manages to kill a few of them, even grabbing those who are trying to climb out. As the pirates come closer, Elizabeth and Isaac hide under a tree. Ursel steps on a branch to get the men's attention and runs to make them follow her. She attacks a guy by surprise and steals his gun before she runs to hide again. When two pirates find her, she starts fighting them with both the gun and a blade. A third man finds the youngsters under the tree and Ursel hears Elizabeth scream. She furiously fights both opponents, killing one by striking his head with her blade and the other one by kicking his head against a log. Isaac comes out ready to fight with the knife, but Ursel jumps on the pirate first and kills him. In the creek, the alligator tries to come out, so Connor shoots it in the face to scare it off. Then he talks very loudly so the family can hear him. He calls Ursel Bloody Mary and threatens to reveal her past if she doesn't cooperate. Ursel's answer is to throw a pirate's head across the creek. Connor then offers a deal. He wants his gold in exchange for Baden, who is alive on his ship. He'll wait for Ursel in her house at dusk. Ursel yells at to take the deal. Afterward Ursel guides her family to a hidden cave, where she pulls some ropes to reveal a hideout in the ground. Elizabeth demands an explanation, so Ursel tells her that Connor used to be a colonizer for the East India Trading Company. When Ursel was a child, Connor and his crew attacked the ship she was traveling on. They killed her parents and kidnapped her, even giving her a tattoo to mark her as theirs. Since women are usually abused on pirate ships, Ursel became a pirate as well to survive. She was so good at killing people that they nicknamed her Bloody Mary. Baden always knew about her past, and he's the reason why she could start over. Ursel brings out a box with all the gold she stole from Connor before checking on her collection of weapons, determined to fight. Meanwhile the pirates bring Baden to the house and show him the bloodstains on the ground, making him think his family is hurt. Lee asks Connor if he truly wants the gold or if he's just here for revenge, since he doesn't want to lose more men over it. Connor says killing Ursel will equal freedom. In the cave, Isaac unknowingly grabs a grenade and Ursel snaps, so she sends the youngsters to wait outside. Then she takes out her old armor from a chest and arms herself with a wide variety of weapons. Before leaving, she reveals she also has a boat, so she tells Isaac and Elizabeth to get the sails ready to escape. After she leaves, Elizabeth finds her bounty poster. In the evening, the pirates are harassing Bodden, but Connor interrupts them to taunt him with stories. He claims that he and Ursel were partners as both captains and lovers, but Bodden doesn't believe him. At that moment Ursel climbs out of a well and prepares a grenade trap. Then she kills a guard with her sword before running to grab a rope from behind the house. She throws it over the roof to capture a guard and pulls, leaving him hanging to death. Next, she slides under the house and quickly brings down another pirate. Using the hatch, Ursel sneaks inside the house and kills another man from behind. Then she puts a boiling pot on the floor to fill the house with smoke. After killing one more guard, she enters the bedroom and finally finds Bodden. He apologizes for taking some gold and explains he was trying to hire a doctor who could help Isaac. He also asks if Connor's story is true, so Ursel admits it was, but she only did it to survive. The guards at the entrance whistle their code but don't get a reply. They realize Ursel must be around killing men, so they start looking for her. Ursel hears them coming, but she can't unlock the chain holding Bodden, so she hides a knife in his clothes and promises to save him during the trade. They share words of love and a kiss before Ursel escapes through the window. Outside, the pirates surround Ursel, but when they try to come closer, she activates a grenade to blow up a man. Connor comes out and agrees to do the exchange, so Ursel pulls out the box of gold from the well. While Bodden is unchained, Connor reminds Ursel that he found her on a slave ship and saved her from a future as a naughty worker. Suddenly Bodden turns around and starts fighting Connor. The other pirates try to get the gold, so Ursel keeps them at bay by activating more grenades or simply shooting them. A hidden sniper keeps trying to shoot Bodden, who dodges every shot and picks up a sword to continue the fight. Connor throws sand at his face to distract him, but as they move, they're accidentally knocked down by a grenade. In the chaos, Lee manages to reach Ursel and cuts her rope so she can't activate the trap anymore. While they also start to fight, Connor tries to stab Bodden, who stops the sword with his bare hand. Ursel easily overpowers Lee, however she sees Connor bring Bodden down, so she yields. Connor threatens to kill Bodden anyway, so Ursel tries to save him, but Lee shoots her leg to make her fall. Bodden gets stabbed in the chest and Ursel talks to him to keep him awake, but he dies anyway. A furious Ursel then retrieves her sword, however Connor immediately disarms her. Ursel wonders why he couldn't just take the gold, so Connor explains that the gold is for his crew and he's here for her bounty. Then Ursel grabs a torch and lights the rope tied to the gold chest. Connor quickly steps away and Ursel falls into the well right before the bomb hidden under the gold explodes. The well crumbles, but Ursel hides in a secret passage. In the cave, Elizabeth is reading an old logbook. It turns out Bodden used to be a dock hand and he met Ursel when she arrived on the island after escaping from Connor with the gold. Ursel is a fake name, but Elizabeth doesn't understand the symbols that spell the real one. When Ursel returns to the cave, she instantly collapses. At the house, Lee is furious because one of the dead pirates was his son and the gold blew up, blaming it all on Connor's obsession with Ursel. He announces that this mission is over and tries to leave, telling the crew to follow him. Connor calls out his mutiny and kills him with 2 shots. Then he shows the other pirates a decree from 3 empires, which offers a lifetime pardon for the person who captures Ursel. Connor gives a speech about freedom and everyone gets excited to help him with the mission. While they burn down the house, Scout finds the hidden passage in the well. Back to Ursel, she drinks alcohol to deal with the pain while Elizabeth takes care of her wounds. Ursel then gives them the bad news about Bodden before closing her wounds with candle wax. Elizabeth asks if the terrible stories from the logbook are true and Ursel confirms she's a terrible person. However, Elizabeth assures her she's changed and convinces her to keep fighting. The youngsters volunteer to help, so together they set up a bunch of traps. When they're done, Ursel hides her family in the boat room. Soon the pirates enter the cave and see a hatch on the ground. They turn a winch hoping to open it, but this triggers a gun that kills a man. After opening the hatch by hand, they find Ursel hiding nearby and open fire, starting a gunfight. Meanwhile, half of the group moves ahead and finds the door, so Elizabeth lights up some explosives to keep the intruders out. Ursel has plenty of weapons ready to fire, so she keeps killing pirates one by one while they take too long to reload. She also shoots a lamp, which sets a man on fire as it falls. Connor starts to shoot several rounds in a row, forcing Ursel to hide. After the explosions are over, Elizabeth checks the door and Scout reaches through a hole to grab her neck. When she looks at him, she discovers he's wearing Weston's necklace. Isaac stabs Scout's arm and manages to make him drop his ant. After Elizabeth sends Isaac to the boat, Scout appears behind her and notices that she has a matching necklace. When he knocks her down, Elizabeth pulls a rope to activate a crossbow that shoots an arrow at Scout, nailing him to the wall. Elizabeth takes Weston's necklace before leaving. In the tunnels, the pirates keep looking for Ursel, who carefully sneaks around and kills them one by one in the darkness. Sometimes she even makes them shoot each other. Connor follows the noise and in the chaos, he shoots one of his own men. Since Connor is the only one left, Ursel runs to hide behind a rock. Connor tells her he wants one last duel and leaves the cave. On the shore, Isaac and Elizabeth get the boat ready. When they look up, They're surprised to see that the signal has been lit. It turns out Connor did it because he wants to hand Ursel to the Navy. When Ursel also comes out of the cave, they start fighting with their blades. They exchange a few blows and Ursel is almost pushed off the edge, but she recovers and keeps fighting. They slash each other a few more times before Ursel stabs Connor in the chest, only for him to headbutt her and stab her leg. Then he punches her and asks her to yield, since he needs her alive to get the bounty. Ursel refuses and gets thrown down, so she takes the chance to throw sand at Connor's eyes. Next she dodges his attack, causing him to stab the fire instead. Connor throws some flaming wood at Ursel, who uses those logs as weapons. Sadly Connor overpowers her again and asks her to yield, however Ursel tells him to end her instead. When Connor is about to kill her, Elizabeth appears behind him and opens fire. Ursel uses the distraction to attack again and stabs Connor, finally killing him. Elizabeth rushes to help Ursel, who tells her that her real name is Miriam. On the boat, Isaac finds some hidden gold bars. The people in the church finally come out when they see the Navy approaching in the distance. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.